All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fountainhead, Rhode Island's fall educational panel and networking event focusing on leadership and culture in the workplace, specifically as it relates to the healthcare sector. My name is David Almonte. I'm one of the co-founders of Fountainhead, Rhode Island. The goal of our organization is to connect like-minded, diverse business and community leaders who share a similar passion, vision, and ambition for moving not only communities here in Rhode Island forward, but communities across the country in which we live, work, and serve. We host educational panel and networking events, as well as spotlight individuals and organizations around the country doing amazing things, and have grown into an organization of over 1,300 business and community leaders nationwide. I want to share with you real quick a quote that I came across the other day by J.M. Lawrence that drives home the importance of what makes our organization so special. It's not what we have in our life, but who we have in life that counts. Many people today think it's best to surround themselves with people who look, act, and think as they do. But of course, those in this room know that the exact opposite is actually where the truth lies. Those who are willing to be uncomfortable, to surround themselves with individuals who constantly push them to be better versions of themselves, to think differently, these are the real winners, as that's where the real growth lies. I'm immensely grateful for Fountainhead, Rhode Island community and all that it continues to become, and I hope you get to see just a little bit of that here tonight as we dive into the topic of leadership and culture, but also in connecting with those in the room. Before welcoming the mayor for the opening remarks, I just want to quickly thank our community partners and sponsors for all of their support, not only tonight, but throughout the year. We have 3 year-long community sponsors this year: Partridge Snow and Hahn, the Washington Trust Company, and Bank Newport. We also have a number of special event partners tonight, starting with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Rhode Island, who's our venue sponsor. And a big thank you to Martha and Carolyn and their entire leadership team for all their support. They went above and beyond, and we're truly grateful for your support. Next, we have APSO, who is our networking sponsor. And I didn't see Chuck, but Chuck Wallach, if he's here, definitely highly recommend you getting to know him. General event sponsors the United Way of Rhode Island's Emerging Leaders Program, the Rhode Island Society of CPAs, and shout out to Melissa and her team for all their support, and the Rhode Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and shout out to Oscar for all of their support as well. Finally, a quick shout out to Sippin' Pretty, our bar vendor for tonight's event, which is an amazing women-owned small business located right here in Rhode Island. I would tell you to make sure you check it out during the networking hour, but I can see that a lot of you have already met them, so appreciate that. I'd now like to welcome Mayor Smiley, the Mayor of Providence, and a huge supporter of our organization since the beginning, to provide us with opening remarks. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you, David, and good evening, everybody. You can tell it's a successful networking event when you can't get people to be quiet to get the program started. And to David and Jason and everyone who has made Fountainhead such a success, congratulations. I've seen many of these events now, and they keep growing, and it's really, really exciting. I think it's a testament to people's desire to connect and to expand their professional endeavors, to look for new business opportunities. And truly, because I know there's some people here that are new to Rhode Island or new to Providence, part of what makes this place special, which is the ability to get connected in Rhode Island, is so much easier than so many other places. That is one of the secret ingredients to our success. For those of you who aren't from Rhode Island, I'll give you a little tip. It's actually on a t-shirt in a couple stores around town, which has got a little cafe table and it says Rhode Island, where you have to look around the room before you talk about someone. And so my advice to you if you're visiting is look around the room before you have honest feedback for the evening. But it is our interconnectedness. It is our 2 degrees of separation that allows us to get big things done here. And that's evidenced by the panel that you see here tonight. The healthcare sector in Rhode Island is amongst, if not the most important industry. 1, because of the vital role that it plays in people's lives. 2, because we have an aging population and the demand for services is only going to grow. And 3 is because after a couple years of maybe slow government action, we are finally in the game in a real way on exciting new research and investments in the community. And so opportunities in this space for entrepreneurs and investors, new business owners, and for folks trying to break into the healthcare space abound. And so there's a really thrilling new collaboration between Brown University and what used to be called Lifespan that we're really excited about. I'm sure Peter will talk about that a little bit, to have a premier research institution, globally known, matched with an excellent hospital system that we rely on to thrive. Blue Cross, which remains the dominant insurer here, and we're so thrilled to be in this space. Martha, thank you for hosting us as an important tenant downtown. We're happy to see people in the space and activating this section of downtown. And then Seema Dixit, who I had a chance to work with in my previous days in the state, and all the important work that's happening at Rhode, which is only going to grow with their new investment for the new state health lab in the Innovation District. I haven't quite figured out what to call it yet, because I don't want people to think that it's just a state health lab, because in fact 2/3 of that space is available wet lab space for private endeavors in our community, and is really going to be an opportunity for researchers and entrepreneurs and new businesses to thrive in the biotech and life sciences space, which is an area in which Rhode Island and Providence now firmly has a toehold, and I think we have great opportunities. For those of you who are new to Providence and new to Rhode Island, let me tell you why Providence. So we find ourselves smack dab in the middle of the most important economic corridor in the country, with easy access to Boston and New York, with rents a third or half the price, access to the same talent with higher quality of life and lower cost of living. While certainly the folks at Rhode and myself and others who were in government working through the pandemic, there were obviously a lot of harm that came to Rhode Island families and through all of our families through the pandemic, but economically, a lot of people moved to Providence during the pandemic. A lot of people left Boston and New York primarily, but other big cities, to come to a place like Providence because they want to live in a city, they want access to culture and arts, they want cultural diversity, but they still want access to high growth, high wage jobs. And you can do all of that in Providence with a much higher quality of life at a lower cost of living. This is the place to be over the next decade. Mid-sized cities in America are growing quickly, and Providence is leading that pack. It is an exciting time to be here. The healthcare space in particular is one of the growth industries that the state and the city are leaning into. And as we think about, it's hard for me as a politician up here to ignore the consequences of the national election a week ago. As we think about changes in the federal landscape, this will remain a place where we fight and protect civil liberties, where we welcome all, where we will embrace diversity, and where we will make sure that everyone feels safe in our community. And so there's never been a better time to be doing business, trying to attract employees, and trying to lean in to economic growth in a city like Providence. And because the topic of tonight's conversation is around culture and leadership, in my experience in government, managing large workforces both at the state and at the city, particularly today's younger workers, but today's workers in general, in addition to the paycheck that they receive, they're also seeking a sense of purpose. They're looking for more than just that paycheck. And there's no space, sector more valuable with a greater opportunity to provide that sort of non-cash compensation than the healthcare space, in caring for others and in improving outcomes for families and individuals. Whether it is community healthcare workers or the new CCBHCs, which are going to be rolling out soon, all the way to the life science space and really high-tech investments that are going to be happening in the Innovation District on the old 195 land. Your workers and employees will have a sense of purpose and be able to do it in a community where they have a space to thrive, where their diversity is not just tolerated, but actually desired and welcomed and embraced And that's all happening here in Providence, Rhode Island. And so it's going to be a great panel, should be a great discussion. I appreciate all of you coming here tonight, having a chance to network with one another, and for the newcomers, taking a fresh look at Providence, Rhode Island, which will be one of the best mid-sized cities in America by the end of the decade. So you should be a part of it. Thank you.
I want to just reflect really quick. I try to do this every time we have a session, whether it's Dave or I that open or close. And I think as I'm listening to this talk, what comes to my mind is a saying I heard a long time back. You know, courage is knowing what not to fear. And the whole point of Fountainhead and why we started this and why we do these leadership talks is to demystify difficult concepts and topics. I am not in the healthcare space, so I'm a climate evangelist, a climate startup. We did the first ever Rhode Island climate stock take a few months ago, which was a major success. But you think about how everything is interrelated, because you think about the gut biome and the food we eat and mental health. And we did Dave and I were really proud of the mental health and wellness workshop that we did a couple of years ago. So all of this stuff comes together. It's synonymous, and it's leaders like yourself that take the time out of your busy schedules to sit down and engage with a community of people. And by the way, as I look at the room, a lot of new faces. I mean, again, how many people is your first Fountainhead event ever been to? I mean, we're going on a decade of doing this, and more than half the room I have not seen before. We have a lot of out-of-towners. I mean, part of why we started, bringing people like you, Dom, as you heard Mayor Smiley say, if you look out, how beautiful and exquisite the city is. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. And energy flows where attention goes. And at Fountainhead, we don't do a lot, but what we do is impactful, it's purpose-driven, and we're trying to bring people to coalesce around topics that are important. You pick these topics. You pick them, our community puts them on. This is one of our first real focused healthcare panels, and I want to thank Martha, you and your team, everybody here at Blue Cross. I've come across this building many times, I've never been in it. Exquisite. Hoping I'll get from my friend Jessica the nickel tour later to look at it. And I'd be remiss without thanking Peter, Seaman, of course, Dom, coming here and being part of this and being vulnerable and sharing your story. We had a panel last year, Eric Kleiner, who also is somebody that I hold in a very high regard. He works with CEOs all over the world. Vulnerability is really key, it's very important. And Peter, to your point, a lot of times impediments can set the way forward. Just in case versus just in time supply chains. I spent 10 years living and working overseas. We co-founded Fountainhead when I was living in Europe. Supply chains are a big part of what we do. With that, I'll close on two notes. I don't know who put this out. I think Noah in the back. You picked a great picture, so I'm proud to be on this picture. We've got our 9th annual end of year event. You can scan the QR code to register. It's going to be at the University Club again. We were honored to do it there. It was a really beautiful event. We've bounced around town. We try to be equal opportunity in terms of venues. Certainly we like to partner with different organizations and companies that are in the community and inspiring leaders across the stack. When Dave and I started this thing, we were in our 20s, and now we're on the older scale of millennials, but we're still really passionate and energized. So please register, come to the event, spend time, make your voice heard. We take it very serious. And of course, our sponsors, Partridge, Snow and Hahn. I think we've got Courtney here in the room. So Courtney, thank you for all you do. On the bronze side, Washington Trust, Bank Newport, the United Way of Rhode Island Emerging Leaders Program, Blue Cross Blue Shield for having us, and of course ASIP here. And we've got, usually there's too much food. So somebody who's in circular economy, please eat the food, enjoy the food. The rest we will put it through an anaerobic digester at Bryant University. Honestly, it's a pleasure. Panelists, thanks again, and we'll wrap up and enjoy the networking. Thanks for being here.